I didn't think anything strange was happening the night I found the tape. It was one of those quiet evenings when the silence of the house feels heavier than usual, like the walls are listening, like the air is waiting. I had come home late from work, tired, frustrated, and honestly just wanting to zone out on the couch. The last thing I expected was to stumble across something wrong. Something that shouldn't exist. Something that feels like it was made for me, and only me. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't go digging through old boxes or rummaging around the attic. It was just there, sitting on my doorstep like a package someone forgot to hand me directly. No envelope, no address, no delivery label, just a dusty VHS tape placed right in front of my door, as if someone had walked up only moments before I arrived. What made me freeze wasn't the tape itself, though. It was the handwriting. It looked rushed, shaky, almost like whoever wrote it had been forced to write quickly, or while being watched. In red marker, across the front label, it said, "She knows you found this." I stared at those words for a full minute, feeling a weird shiver crawl up the back of my neck. Not fear, exactly, but something close. Something like being observed. That uncomfortable prickle between the shoulder blades, the one that makes you look behind you even though you know nothing is there. I leaned outside, scanning the dark edges of the front yard. My porch light flickered the moment I stepped out, which was unusual because I had replaced the bulb 3 days earlier. I swore under my breath and looked around. The street was empty. No cars passing by, no joggers, no neighbors walking their dogs. Just the sound of wind through the trees and the faint hum of the power lines above. That hum felt louder than normal. Or maybe I was just on edge. I picked up the tape. The plastic felt oddly warm, like someone had been holding it up until the moment they dropped it and walked away. I didn't see anyone, though, and yet the feeling, the certainty that someone had been here only moments ago wouldn't leave my mind. I went inside, locked the door out of instinct, and carried the VHS to the living room like it was more delicate than it really was. I held it in both hands, looking at it from different angles like I expected to find an explanation written somewhere else. But nothing. No name, no date, no manufacturer logo. Just the black case and that red lettering staring back at me. I placed it on the table and sat down for a few minutes, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to throw it away, but another part, the bigger, stupider part, wanted answers. And answers, in my experience, only show up if you go looking for them. I went to the hall closet and dug out the old VCR I hadn't used in years. It was coated in dust, but it still worked. I'd kept it mostly for nostalgia, telling myself I might digitize old home movies someday. Funny how things work out, because the first thing I'd play on it in over a decade wasn't a home movie at all. I plugged everything in, turned off the lights, and sat cross-legged in front of the TV like a kid again. The house was silent, except for the soft buzz of the old electronics warming up. The TV screen lit with that familiar blue glow. My chest tightened, not with excitement, but with something heavier. I slid the tape in. There was a click, a soft, mechanical whir, a moment of static. Then, the screen went black. At first, I thought the tape was damaged. It looked intentionally damaged, burned along the edges of the image frame, like someone had held a lighter too close. The audio was nothing but a soft hiss. Darkness filled the screen. Not the kind of darkness you get when a camera is pointing at nothing, but the kind that feels full, like something is sitting just inches beyond the lens. After a few seconds, the screen flickered, and a figure appeared. A woman. Or the shape of a woman. Her body was visible, slightly distorted like an old broadcast, but her face, a blur. Not pixelated, not censored, blurred. Like something was vibrating over her features, constantly shifting, refusing to stabilize. I couldn't tell if she was young or old, angry or sad. The blur stole everything. Except her voice, her whisper. She leaned forward, as if she could see me through the screen. "Hello." The whisper was soft, breathy, but unmistakably directed at the viewer, at me. I swallowed hard, suddenly aware of how cold the room felt. My hands felt shaky. Something in her tone made me feel like she wasn't greeting a stranger. She sounded like she knew me. Her blurred head tilted slightly. "You found it." My living room lights flickered. I froze. It wasn't normal flickering. It wasn't the quick blink of a bulb going out. It was a long, slow pulse of light, on, off, on again, perfectly synced with her voice, as if her voice reached through the tape and touched the wiring in my house. She leaned closer. The blur on her face deepened, darkened. "I told them you would." A soft buzzing noise came from my kitchen, not from the fridge, not that deep mechanical hum, but something lighter, like fingers tapping on the glass of the window. I turned my head for a moment, listening. When I looked back, she was closer to the camera. Too close. Her breath fogged the lens. "You shouldn't have." My lights flickered again, harder this time. The entire room dimmed, then surged back to brightness, like something was pulling power from inside the walls. Her hands reached up and pressed against the camera, palms flat against the lens, as though she were trying to climb out through it. "You need to listen," she whispered. I exhaled shakily. My pulse throbbed in my neck. She paused, then spoke again, softer. "My name." My blood went cold.
Hearing it, spoken so casually, so intimately, felt like being grabbed by the throat. I hadn't told anyone about the tape. I'd been home for 10 minutes at most. There was no way she should know my name. The lights went out. Everything, all at once. Darkness swallowed the room. I heard a faint sound behind me. Not movement exactly, but a shift, a pressure, like the air itself had moved around something that wasn't supposed to be there. I sat completely still, barely breathing. The TV was still on. The only light in the room came from the woman on the screen. Her whisper continued. "She knows you're watching." I didn't know who she meant, but the certainty in her voice, the urgency, made my skin crawl. "You need to leave the room," she said. "Right now." Her hands pressed harder against the lens, almost distorting the image. I could hear her breathing. The blur over her face pulsed with darker shadows, like there were expressions behind it that I wasn't allowed to see. "She's here." A soft creaking noise echoed from the hallway behind me. My heart stuttered. I turned my head by inches, terrified of seeing anything standing there. But there was nothing, just the dark. When I looked back at the screen, the woman had moved again. She was now standing several feet from the camera, pointing behind her towards something out of frame. "You don't have much time," she whispered. "She's coming." My throat tightened. Something in her tone, total sincerity, total fear, made me believe her without question. I pushed myself up from the floor, but before I could stand fully, the lights in the hallway flickered. Once, twice. The third time they stayed off, and I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Dragging. Moving toward the living room. The woman whispered louder, "Don't move." The footsteps stopped. Silence. My ears rang with the sudden stillness. I didn't know whether to trust the tape or my instinct to run. My body felt frozen, as if something was holding me in place. Then the woman whispered again, "She sees you." The TV cut to static. Every lamp in the house turned on at once, blazing bright white light flooding every room through every doorway. I shielded my eyes, stumbling back. Then, just as suddenly, all the lights slammed off again. In that half-second of brightness, I saw something in the hallway. A silhouette, still, facing me. When darkness swallowed everything again, my breath came out in a broken gasp. The silhouette hadn't been a coat rack. It hadn't been a shadow. It had been a woman, standing perfectly still, watching me. The TV screen flickered back to life. The woman with the blurred face was closer than ever, her whisper now shaking with panic. "You need to understand," she said. "She's not what you think. She's not alive the way you are. She's not dead either." The house groaned around me, wood contracting as if under sudden temperature change. Even though the air felt colder than before. "She wants to be seen," the blurred woman whispered, "but not fully. Never fully." The lights in the hallway flashed again. For a split second, I saw her. The woman from the hallway. Her face was wrong. Not blurred like the one on the tape, stretched like skin pulled too tight over bones that weren't the right shape. Her eyes were wide and empty. Her mouth too long, too low on her face. Then the lights went out again.
I staggered backward, chest aching with terrified breaths. My vision shimmered in the faint glow of the TV screen. The blurred woman leaned closer to the camera. "She knows you found the tape," she whispered. "She knows you're watching. She knows your name, and now she knows your house." Something scratched at the wall behind me. Slow, light, intentional. My heart pounded in my throat. I turned toward the sound, but the room was too dark to see anything beyond vague shapes. The scratching continued, spiraling upward as if scraping from the baseboard to the ceiling. Then it stopped. The woman on the tape whispered, "She's in the walls." My breath caught. A thump sounded to my left, inside the drywall. Another behind me, another above me. The tape hissed. "You need to listen to me," the woman said, her voice suddenly softer, sadder. "You can't run from her, you can't hide from her, but you can survive her." My voice cracked. "How?" She leaned closer. "You have to keep watching." The tape glitched violently. The screen rippled like water. Her blurred face distorted into something unreadable. Behind me, the wall bulged outward for a moment, like something inside pressed a hand against it. I stumbled back, grabbing the TV stand for balance, my pulse hammering in my ears. The woman whispered, "She's learning you. She's learning your movements. She's learning your voice, but she still can't mimic your thoughts." I swallowed hard. Why is she here? The static deepened. For a moment, I thought the tape was failing. Then the blurred woman said the words that froze my entire body. "She came because you found this tape." Every hair on my body stood up. Before I could respond, before I could move, the lights in the entire house flickered 3 times. The same rhythm as her whispers, perfectly synced, as if responding to her. The blurred woman's voice trembled.
She hears me talking to you. The walls behind me thumped, hard, like something hit them from the inside. She's coming to the room, the woman whispered. My chest tightened painfully. The hallway lights flashed one more time, and standing at the entrance of the living room, outlined in the brief flash of light, was the wrong-faced woman. Her head tilted slowly. Her neck cracked 3 times. Then darkness returned. The woman on the tape whispered, now desperate, "Don't turn around."
I didn't turn around. Every muscle in my body wanted to, but something deep in my instincts, deeper than fear, deeper than reason, told me that looking at her directly would be a mistake I wouldn't come back from. The woman on the tape had whispered the command with absolute certainty, and even though I didn't understand why, I obeyed. The room felt like it had shrunk around me. The air was thick, pressing against my skin like invisible hands. The soft hum of the TV was the only sound keeping me grounded. I focused on that hum, on the faint static rolling under her whispering voice. The blurred woman on the screen breathed out slowly. "She's right behind you," she whispered. Cold air brushed the back of my neck, cold enough to sting. I clenched my jaw to stop my teeth from chattering. I could feel her there. Not just presence, form, height, weight, the idea of a body. And something about her breathing. It was wrong. Not human. It came in uneven bursts, like she didn't understand the mechanics of lungs and was guessing based on hearing other people breathe. The blurred woman continued softly. "She's right behind you," she whispered. Cold air brushed the back of my neck, cold enough to sting. I clenched my jaw to stop my teeth from chattering. I could feel her there. Not just presence, form, height, weight, the idea of a body, and something about her breathing. It was wrong, not human. It came in uneven bursts, like she didn't understand the mechanics of lungs and was guessing based on hearing other people breathe. The blurred woman on the tape continued softly. "She's curious about you. She's been watching humans for a long time, but you're the first she's shown herself to." Something shifted behind me, fabric brushing lightly, like she tilted her head or adjusted her stance. I swallowed hard. "Why me?" I whispered before I could stop myself. The blurred woman's head snapped up, as if startled. I saw her hands press against the inside of the lens again. "Don't speak to me while she's near," she said urgently. "She mimics sound." My blood turned to ice. The creature behind me shifted again, and this time it made a tiny sound. A breath. Not my breath. Not the blurred woman's breath. A breath in my own voice. The sound was so exact that for a second I thought it was me, but it came from behind me, not inside my chest. My skin crawled violently, and I felt my stomach tighten. The blurred woman on the tape slowly lifted a finger to her lips in a shh gesture, even though she didn't have a visible mouth. I stayed silent. The creature behind me made the sound again, louder. A short inhalation, an experiment, like a child trying out a new word for the first time. Then it whispered, "Hello." My voice. Perfectly. Exactly. The voice came again, this time slightly off. Low, like it was adjusting, fine-tuning. The blurred woman on the tape shuddered violently, her blurred features glitching in waves across the screen. "She's learning you," she whispered. "She's trying to understand your shape, your sound, your movements." I couldn't breathe. Then the woman on the tape whispered something I didn't expect. "She doesn't know your intentions yet. That's the only thing she can't copy. Don't think of running. Don't think of fighting her. Keep your mind blank, empty." I tried. God, I tried. But fear makes your thoughts race. My mind flashed with images. Me sprinting to the front door. Me grabbing the heavy lamp beside the couch. Me blindly swinging behind me. I couldn't stop them. Behind me, she shifted again. Sharp, like she suddenly understood something new. The blurred woman's whisper darkened. "She understands your panic." The creature exhaled, a slow, trembling sound, but this time it wasn't mimicking my breath. It was mimicking my fear.
And she did it too well. The blurred woman whispered, "She knows you want to run." A sound came from behind me, quick, loud, deliberate. The creature had moved, not walking, sliding. The carpet fibers hissed softly under the weight of something shifting its position. I tensed, instinctively turning my head just an inch. The blurred woman hissed through the static, "Don't look at her." The power surged in the house. Every light in the living room blazed white for a split second. In that flash, I saw part of her. Not her face. I never looked that high. But her arm. It was wrong. Too long. The elbow bent in the middle of the forearm, like there was an extra joint hidden beneath the skin. Her hand hung loosely, fingers far too thin, trembling as if she was excited. Then darkness swallowed everything again. My pulse pounded so loudly that it felt like sound waves throbbing through my skull. I squeezed my eyes shut and forced myself to breathe evenly. The blurred woman whispered from the screen, "You need to move to another room, slowly. Don't alert her. Don't let her think you're afraid. She responds to fear." I whispered, barely audible, "How?" The blurred woman lifted one finger. "Crawl." I nearly laughed from terror. Crawl? That felt insane. That felt like something a predator would want from prey. To get lower, to get weaker. But maybe that was the point. If she thought I was weak, maybe she wouldn't attack yet. I slowly lowered myself onto my hands and knees. The floor felt colder than before, like something was draining the warmth out of the house. The creature behind me inhaled sharply, again in my voice. "Are you going?" My entire body locked up. The blurred woman on the tape whispered, "She's speaking to you. Don't answer." I began crawling across the carpet, moving one hand forward, then the other, dragging my knees slowly, avoiding sudden movement. Every inch felt like a mile. The room stretched unnaturally long in the darkness, like the shadows themselves were trying to keep me there. Behind me, the creature moved again, a fast, jagged shift, too fast to be human. The air moved beside my neck. She was lowering herself too, mimicking my crawling. I felt the warmth of her breath. No, not warmth. Cold. A cold so sharp it burned. The blurred woman whispered urgently, "She's studying how you escape. Don't let her see your face. Don't show her fear. Go to the bathroom. Lock the door. She can't enter small spaces easily." I reached the doorway on my hands and knees, heart hammering, breath shallow. The creature crawled behind me, her movements scraping along the carpet in unnatural rhythms. When I passed the threshold into the hallway, I risked the smallest glance back, just a shadowy peripheral shape, and I saw her hand. It was inches from the carpet, palm down at first, but as she crawled, her hand flipped over mid-movement in a way no joint should allow, rotating 180 degrees without stopping.
I nearly sobbed. I scrambled toward the bathroom door and forced myself not to slam it shut, just closed it gently, quietly, turning the lock with shaking fingers. The moment the lock clicked, she pressed against the door. Not banging, just pressing. Slowly, gently. The wood flexed inward. The doorknob shuddered. The blurred woman's voice whispered through the static from the living room, as if she knew exactly where I was. "She knows you're inside. You can't stay there long." The light in the bathroom flickered. I backed into the corner, curling my knees to my chest, barely breathing. The creature outside began to mimic again. Soft breathing. My breathing. Then, knocking. 3 slow knocks, in a rhythm too deliberate to be accidental. The same rhythm the lights had flickered in earlier. I covered my mouth to keep quiet. The creature outside the door spoke in my voice, perfectly now. "Come out." I didn't move. The creature mimicked the voice again, testing other tones. "Come out. Come out. Come out, come out, come out." Each one faster, more desperate, more eager. Not because she wanted to hurt me, but because she wanted to see me. She wanted to learn my face. The blurred woman's voice, faint but still audible from the living room, whispered, "She can't open the door, but she can wait." The creature outside the door stopped speaking, stopped scratching, stopped breathing. Silence. Too silent. Then, click. The bathroom light turned off. Darkness swallowed me whole. I pressed my back against the cold tile, heart hammering, trying not to make a sound. In the pitch black, the blurred woman's whisper seemed to echo inside my head, even though she was on a tape in another room. "You need to listen carefully now, because she's listening too." The creature outside inhaled sharply, the sound of a smile pulling wide across an unnatural face. Then, she whispered, "I hear you."
The darkness inside the bathroom was absolute. Not a soft darkness, not the kind where your eyes adjust slowly. This was thick, smothering, like someone had poured black paint over the world. I pressed myself into the corner, knees drawn up, barely able to breathe. On the other side of the door, she whispered again in my voice, perfectly now, "I hear you." The words slithered through the crack under the door, cold as winter air. My fingers dug into the grout between the tiles. I had nowhere else to go. The bathroom was too small, and the idea of turning the light back on, if it even worked, felt like suicide. She was waiting, listening. The blurred woman on the tape had told me that much. For a moment, everything went silent.
That silence stretched on for so long that I almost convinced myself she had walked away, that maybe the warnings were exaggerated, that maybe she couldn't enter the bathroom, couldn't open the door, couldn't do anything unless I let her. Then, slowly, softly, her fingers slid under the door. I didn't scream. I couldn't. The breath got trapped somewhere between my chest and my throat. I only watched, frozen, as long, thin fingers curled up from the floor like pale roots searching for warmth. They weren't human fingers. They bent too many times, too smoothly, like new joints were forming under the skin as she pushed one knuckle through, then another. She kept whispering, "I hear you." The fingers scraped against the tile, feeling their way across the floor. I pressed myself back harder against the wall, as though I could push myself into the tile and disappear. Then something else slid under the door. Her face. Or what she wanted me to think was her face. It wasn't real skin, more like stretched, damp fabric pulled over a skull that didn't match human anatomy. Features shifted under the surface like something moving beneath a sheet. The thing's mouth was too wide, too low, too eager. But her eyes, they were nothing but shadows. Hollow, shifting shadows. She whispered again, this time impossibly close. "Come out." The words were a demand. I shook my head in the dark, even though she couldn't see it. The face pressed harder against the gap, too big to fit but stretching anyway. The skin, or whatever she wore, strained and thinned, nearly transparent. I could see sheeps beneath it that didn't match bone or muscle. Something squirmed under her cheek, like a hand pressing from inside out. Then her voice changed. It wasn't my voice anymore. It wasn't an imitation. It was hers. Low, resonant, full of something ancient and hollow. "Let me see you." I squeezed my eyes shut. The blurred woman from the tape had warned me, never let her have your face. If she sees you fully, she becomes you, and once she becomes you, you don't exist anymore. The creature pushed again, harder this time. Her fingers were inches from my shoe. That was when the TV in the living room flickered on. The static blared, loud enough for the whole house to hear. The creature froze. Her fingers recoiled instantly, retracting beneath the door like snapped rubber bands. I heard her shift backward, dragging herself toward the sound of the static. A soft hiss, almost a growl, vibrated through the floorboards. She hated the tape. She was afraid of the blurred woman, or something worse. I listened as the creature made her way across the hallway in jerky movements, like she couldn't decide whether to walk or crawl. Her limbs thudded against the wall twice, then slid along the floor. Then silence. No footsteps. No breathing. Nothing. I waited, trembling, my back sore from pressing so hard against the wall. Minutes passed. Only the faint static hum from the TV remained. I slowly reached up and felt for the light switch. My shaking fingers slid along the wall, found the plastic switch, and pressed it up. The bathroom light flickered. Once, twice, then stayed on. My reflection in the mirror looked like a stranger. Pale, terrified, eyes wide. I didn't trust the reflection. It felt like she could be waiting behind it, copying me, but not perfectly. I avoided looking at it again. I unlocked the bathroom door with the quietest click I could manage and opened it slowly. The hallway was empty, but the carpet was disturbed, flattened in strange places, scraped in others, as if something had crawled across it on all fours. The air smelled faintly of damp earth and metal, like blood after it's dried, but thicker. The TV glowed in the living room, static filling the dark like fog. I stepped toward it cautiously. Every shadow felt alive. When I reached the living room, I realized the tape wasn't on the floor where I had left it. It was inside the VCR, playing on its own. The static warped, then froze. A shape pulsed through it. Then the blurred woman appeared again. But she looked different, shaken, dimmer, as if the tape had weakened. Her head jerked sharply before stabilizing. The blur over her face thickened, swirling like black smoke. She whispered, "She's inside your house completely now." I shivered. She was already inside before.
The blurred woman shook her head slowly. No, she was in the walls, watching, waiting, learning. But now that you've seen her, now that she has your voice, she's no longer confined. I swallowed hard. What does she want? The blurred woman looked towards something off-screen, then back at me. She wants you. My stomach squeezed. My skin prickled. Why me? I whispered. The blurred woman lifted her hand, touching the lens gently. Because you found the tape. The phrase felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Why does this tape matter? I asked. Why was it left for me? The room felt colder. The static deepened. She left it, the blurred woman said softly. Not me. I froze. She? I whispered. The blurred woman nodded slowly. She wanted you to watch. She wanted you to hear your name. She wanted you to feel her before she showed herself. Why? To make you easier to copy. I took a step back without thinking. The blurred woman's voice grew fainter, glitching. She needs your shape, your movements, your memories, but she can't do that unless you show her more of yourself. I shook my head. No, I'm not giving her anything. The blurred woman tilted her head sadly. And she'll take it. A soft tapping echoed from behind me. I spun. Nothing. Just the empty hallway. When I turned back to the screen, the blurred woman was closer, so close that her blurred face nearly filled the entire screen. She's in the house, behind the walls, beneath the floors, watching every reflection, listening to every breath. But she still can't take your mind. Not yet. The TV flickered violently. The image warped. The sound crackled. She's trying to break the tape, the blurred woman whispered. She hates that I can speak to you. A loud slam echoed from the kitchen. I nearly jumped out of my skin. The blurred woman's voice sharpened. She's moving fast now, faster than before. She's excited. My breath sped up. What do? I asked, terrified. How do I stop her? The blurred woman leaned closer, as close as the screen would allow. You can't stop her, she whispered. You can only delay her. How? She hesitated. There is a room in your house she hasn't memorized yet. I blinked. What room? She reached out as if trying to touch my face through the screen. The basement. My pulse quickened. I don't have a basement. The blurred woman paused. You do now. A deep, low rumble came from somewhere below me. The floorboards vibrated. Dust drifted from the ceiling. My house didn't have a basement, not when I moved in, but something was beneath my feet. Something new. Something wrong. She's opening it, the blurred woman whispered. She's making a place for you. My throat tightened. What does that mean? The blurred woman trembled, her blur darkened. The screen flickered as if under attack. It means she's almost ready. Something slammed against the wall behind the TV, a heavy, wet impact. The drywall cracked. The blurred woman screamed, "Run!"
The wall behind the TV burst open. A pale arm reached through, too long, bending in too many places, fingers spreading like spider legs. I stumbled backward, heart hammering, scrambling toward the hallway. The creature's head pushed through next, skin stretching, tearing, reforming, as if she was deciding what face to wear. Her eyes locked onto me, dark, hollow pits that widened when she saw me. She smiled, a smile that didn't belong on anything human. She whispered, in my exact voice, "Found you." I bolted down the hallway as the walls shook, as her limbs tore through plaster, as she unfolded herself out of the wall like a nightmare peeling out of a cocoon. The floor vibrated, the rumbling grew louder, boards split. And when I reached the end of the hallway, the floor itself gave way. I fell. Not into the crawl space, not into pipes or dirt, but into a staircase, old wooden steps spiraling downward into an impossible black void that hadn't existed yesterday. The basement she made for me. She crawled after me, her limbs clacking against the wood like broken marionette joints. I hit the stairs hard and tumbled, pain exploding through my arms and legs, but I kept scrambling, sliding, trying to get away. Above me, her silhouette blocked the opening, the warped outline of her head tilting unnaturally, her limbs stretching down as she descended the stairs faster than gravity should allow. Her whisper filled the stairwell. "My face," she exhaled. "Let me see your face." I reached the bottom of the stairs and found nothing. Just darkness and her shadow descending. The blurred woman's voice whispered faintly from the VHS still playing upstairs. "Don't let her touch you." But it was too late. Something cold brushed the back of my neck. Something that felt like the start of a new face being carved out of mine. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Not after what the blurred-faced woman said on the tape. "She's already inside." Those words crawled under my skin and nested there, repeating in a loop until they stopped sounding like a warning and started sounding like a fact. The house felt wrong now. It had that charged pressure right before a lightning strike, the kind that makes your hair stand on end. Every sound was a threat. The refrigerator motor kicking on, the settling wood, the rustle of leaves outside. Every noise felt intentional, as if the house were trying to communicate. Or breathe. And the worst part, the lights kept flickering, at random intervals. Not the gentle flicker of a dying bulb, no. These were sharp, synchronized pulses, like blinks. I stayed in the living room with the TV off, but the VHS player still plugged in, as if disconnecting it would somehow provoke her. Or it. Or whatever was tied to the blurred-faced woman on the screen. Around 2:14 a.m., the lights flicked twice, short, sharp pulses, then stayed on with a faint buzz that felt wrong for the bulbs I'd installed. I whispered into the empty room, "I'm not watching the tape again." The lights went out, instantly. Pitch black. Not gradual, not a dimming fade, snapped to darkness like someone cut the wires with a single bite. My breath hitched, and then, from somewhere deeper in the house, I heard it, a soft tapping. Not on glass, not on wood, on something hollow. It took me a second to identify it. Metal. A light tapping on metal like fingernails on the casing of an appliance, or a vent. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." Because I realized exactly where it was coming from. The air vent behind the couch. Something was inside the duct.
The tapping stopped. And then a voice, her voice, slipped through the vent like a draft of cold air. "You shouldn't have stopped watching." Her whisper filled the entire living room, spreading like smoke, thin and cold. Not loud, not shouted, just perfectly placed, as though her mouth were pressed right to the metal slates behind my head. I froze. Even breathing felt too loud. Then the lights flickered back on. But this time, they didn't stutter randomly. They pulsed in a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat, illuminating the living room in short bursts. And the VHS player, it turned on by itself. The TV followed. That static blue screen appeared with its eerie glow, and the player began to rewind, whining loudly, aggressively, like it was being forced to go faster than it should. "No," I hissed, reaching for the cord. Before I could touch it, the screen cut to black. Then, suddenly, pop. The VHS started playing. She was there again. The blurred-faced woman, sitting in the same chair, leaning forward, her outline glitching at the edges as though she were fighting to remain in the frame. Her head twitched sharply to the left, then to the right, glitching faster each time, until it reminded me of a hummingbird's wings. The distortion roared in my speakers, a grinding mechanical tearing. Her whisper came through again, but this time it was crystal clear, with no distortion at all. "Don't turn around." I froze, absolutely still. Not because I believed her, but because something in her tone, something in the perfect clarity of it, made my spine ice over. She leaned closer to the camera, her blurred face shifted, the smear of pixels stretching as if something underneath the distortion was pushing outward, trying to show itself through the noise. "She's behind you," the woman whispered, voice trembling, "and she doesn't want you to see her yet." My lungs locked. A warm breath touched the back of my neck. Slow, wet, human. I clenched my jaw to stop the scream trying to claw its way out. I didn't move, not even a twitch. I focused on the TV because if I looked anywhere else, if I even lifted my eyes, whatever was behind me might think I'd acknowledged it. The woman on the tape kept whispering. Her tone shifted from warning to pleading. "You must not look at her. If you look, she becomes real. She becomes here." That breath on my neck returned, this time accompanied by the faintest sound of movement, skin shifting against skin, a wet click like a tongue tapping the roof of a mouth. Then another breath, this one drawn in rather than exhaled, as though the thing was smelling me, taste testing the air around me. The woman on the tape trembled violently. "If you stay still, she will only watch you. She can watch for hours." I felt tears well in my eyes. Hours? I couldn't survive seconds. I swallowed, quiet, trembling. The tape continued without waiting for me. "But if you move..." The lights flickered overhead, matching the rhythm of her whisper. "She touches." Cold fingers pressed against the back of my arm. I jerked involuntarily. The touch tightened instantly. Not a grab, a claim. Fingers curling lightly, deliberately, almost tenderly. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Inside my head, one thought echoed. "She's real. She's real. She's real." The woman on the tape screamed something, but the audio broke, glitching so violently that her voice split into 3 different tones layered on top of each other. The blurred-faced woman slammed her hand on the table beside her, distortion pulsing across the screen.
When the sound cleared again, she was whispering fast, urgent, frantic. "You have to finish the tape, start to end, no stopping. It's the only thing that keeps her from crossing all the way through." Her voice became a hiss of static. "If the tape stops before she's done with you..." The lights in the house went out.
The screen went black. I could feel her behind me, closer now, her forehead almost brushing my hair, her breaths colder, deeper. And then, a soft click from inside the VHS player. Not ejecting, rewinding. The tape was rewinding itself. "No, no, no!" I snapped, spinning around despite the woman's warning. I wish I could say I saw nothing. I wish I could say my eyes met empty space, just shadows, just my own terror staring back at me. But the truth, I didn't see her face, because she didn't have one. Not exactly. Her head was blurred, the same glitching smear as the woman on the tape, only worse. Wider, deeper, layers of distortion spiraling like a vortex where her face should have been. But within the blur, there were shapes. Rapid flashes of features that didn't belong together. Eyes too far apart, a jaw that extended too long, teeth arranged in patterns that didn't match any human mouth. Her head twitched when I looked at her, violent and jerky, like she was glitching out of existence. Or forcing herself into it. Her hand lifted toward me, long, pale fingers ending in blackened tips like burned bone. From the living room speakers, the blurred-faced woman's voice shredded through the static. "Don't look at her!" The tape cut. Lights off. Silence. Except for the sound of something wet touching the floorboards near my feet. A drip. Then another. Another. Slow. Thick. Viscous. My chest tightened painfully as I realized she was leaning even closer, her presence cooling the air until my breath fogged in front of my face despite the darkness. Her hand wrapped around my wrist, ice cold, but strong. Too strong. I couldn't move. I couldn't pull away. Then the VHS player clicked again. Not rewinding. Fast forwarding. The machine whined louder, higher, faster, aggressive, like it was being bent out of shape. The TV burst back to life in a flash of white noise. The blurred-faced woman appeared again, closer than any previous frame, filling the entire screen with her obscured face. The blur swelled and contracted, syncing with her ragged breathing. "You looked at her." Her voice cracked with despair. "She's almost through now." I stared at the screen in horror as the camera slowly panned, not by its own movement, but as if something were dragging it sideways. The tape was showing my living room, my couch, the back of my head, and behind me, her. Only this time, she wasn't just standing there. She was unfolding. Her limbs stretching, warping, elongating unnaturally, like someone was dragging a mannequin apart and trying to make it taller by sheer force. Bones cracked softly, wetly. I felt something brush my calf. Her hand, sliding down, curious, possessive. The blurred-faced woman whispered, but her whisper now sounded unwilling, as though she wasn't merely warning me, she was being forced to speak. She waits for the tape to end, so she can finish stepping through. The screen flickered violently,
The image warped into jagged, zigzagging patterns. The audio splintered into metallic screeches. And then I heard her voice. Not the blurred-faced woman, the thing behind me.
Her voice was a perfect imitation of my own. Pitch, tone, breath, exact. "It's almost over." Her hand slid up my spine. Not crawling, claiming. I staggered forward, ripping away from her touch with a desperate animal panic I didn't know I was capable of. I slammed into the coffee table and crawled across the floor toward the VHS player. I didn't have a plan. There was no logic left, only instinct. Stop the tape, finish the tape, destroy the tape. Every option felt fatal. Behind me, she made a sound, a glitching, broken exhale, a corrupted imitation of laughter. On the screen, the blurred-faced woman screamed, "She knows you found this!" Then the tape reached its final seconds. The footage flickered, and flickered, and flickered. Then, it stopped. Just stopped. The screen froze on a final frame. Me, sleeping, in my bed. Only I wasn't alone. She was lying beside me, her blurred head inches from my face, her hand resting on my chest like a lover. The tape clicked and clicked, trying to play something that wasn't there, trying to continue where nothing existed. The lights in the house flickered once, twice, 3 times. Then, total, absolute darkness. Behind me, something shifted. And then, "Turn around!" My own voice, whispered by her, right behind my ear. The tape began rewinding again, and this time, it didn't stop. I don't know what's coming next, but I know the truth now. She doesn't need the tape anymore. She's already here, and she's learning how to speak through me. I'm not sure how long I'll remain the one in control of my voice. If you find this, if you hear this, don't watch the tape. Don't listen for her. Don't say her name. Because the second you acknowledge her, she learns you exist, and the lights will flicker just once to let you know she found you too.